Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be presenting a forecast for that upcoming major snowstorm. We're going to be talking all about what those models are calling for as of now as well. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content. Also, make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting Patreon page where we just made a post about another upcoming major snowstorm. So I highly recommend you go check that out. That's going to be for the East Coast this time around. So we made a post about that. You can check that out in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, how much snowfall do you think is the maximum anyone sees with this upcoming snowstorm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video now, and first things first, we're taking a look at our European model, as always, and as you can see, we're taking a look at about the morning hours of tomorrow, and we're going to have some snow showers already going on for Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa there. By time, we're taking a look at maybe 6 a.m. tomorrow, so first things first, starting out the day on the very, very early morning hours of Thursday, February 4th. All right, as we move forward towards later in the afternoon, 2 or 3 p.m., let's say, on February 4th, again, like I said, Thursday, as you can see, we already progress into very heavy snowfall there for portions of Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan as well. This does include Chicago, by the way. And look, already by this point, we're going to have nearly blizzard conditions. I've taken a look that we're going to have winds gusting around 30 miles per hour. It's just on the hinge. Very, very close to blizzard conditions. It's going to be near blizzard conditions, or blizzard-like conditions, I guess is what I would say, especially on that western edge, Iowa, Missouri there. That's where the winds are going to be the biggest impact while that snow is falling. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to move on further through this model run towards where this is going to make its way over the Great Lakes and into the Northeast, and then we're going to move on and take a look at some more models later on. All of that is coming up in just a moment. All right, now here we are taking a look at about, I would say, 1 a.m. there on Friday, February 5th. And as you can see, that very heavy snowfall is going on still for Wisconsin, both peninsulas of Michigan there. We do have some moderate snowfall going on for Chicago, northern Indiana, northern Ohio as well by this point. Let's just take this to about the early morning hours on Friday, or not the super early morning, but let's call it 10 or 11 a.m. there. On Friday, you can see that there will be some snowfall making its way into Pennsylvania and New York by this point, rain to the south. Eventually, though, this does move offshore of Maine, only bringing, I would say, light to moderate snowfall this event. And then here is that one I made a Patreon post about, and as you can see, we're going to have some moderate snowfall potentially for eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Long Island, New York, southern New England as well there, with kind of a weaker nor'easter at this point, but it could be stronger once we get closer to that storm. We're going to have to watch that one closely, but for now, it seems like more of a more minor to moderate snowstorm at this point. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, take a brief look at what the GFS is calling for, and then we're going to move on to some higher resolution models, like our NAM model, our RGEM model. I'm very excited to show you guys what those ones are calling for. All right, now here we are taking a look at that GFS model. We're starting out at about, again, probably the early morning hours there on Thursday, probably 6 a.m. or so. We do have some light to moderate snowfall showers going on there for Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota by this point. As we move up towards about 1 p.m. or 12 p.m. there on Thursday, February 4th, you can see that moderate to heavy snowfall is going on for Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And like I said before, we could have some near blizzard conditions there for Iowa and Missouri on the very western extent of that heavier snowfall. We will be watching for that. If the winds trend a little bit heavier, it'll be very close to blizzard conditions. If they trend a little bit lighter, it'll just be reduced visibility, not quite close to blizzard conditions. Let's take this to about 6 p.m. there, 6 or 7 p.m. there on Thursday evening. And as you can see, we really stop seeing a lot of that mixing going on, and it's going to be mostly just heavy snowfall for Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin there, even Chicago getting included in that very heavy snowfall, according to this model. Eventually, though, as we reach maybe very, very early on Friday morning, let's call it 3 a.m. or so there on Friday, February 5th, you can see that we have less heavy snowfall, and that is transitioning towards the east. As we take a more eastern view, you can see by the time we're reaching the PM hours of Friday, you can see that we, pretty much have that storm moved out. We do have some of that lingering for the northeast, but really, it's mostly moved out by that point. As we start to take a look at our NAM 3KM model, a much higher resolution model, this is probably about 1 p.m. or so there on Thursday, February 4th. you can see that moderate to heavy snowfall, mostly heavy there, for Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. There will be some mixing on the very eastern half of Wisconsin, it appears, according to most of these models. But by the time we're reaching maybe about, I would say, 8 or 9 p.m. there on Thursday, you can see that all of that mixing comes to an end. We see mostly just heavy snowfall for Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, all around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to move on towards the end of that model run. We're going to move on and take a look at what the RGEM model has to say, and then we're going to start talking about total snowfall according to all of these models, and even presenting my snowfall forecast for this storm, my hand-drawn snowfall forecast, at the end of this video, so stay tuned for all of that. Alright, now here we are taking a look at that NAM 3KM model, and as you can see, by the time we're reaching maybe 3 or 4 a.m. there on Friday, you can see that this is coming to an end. We do still see some moderate to heavy snowfall going on for both peninsulas of Michigan, but it will pretty much just come to an end after that point. Our RGEM model, let's get started with that kind of afternoon hour there on Thursday, and as you can see, there is some moderate to heavy snowfall for Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. You're probably catching the hint that pretty much all of them are calling for the same exact thing at this point. This model is a little bit further south, though, as we move towards about 1 a.m. or so there on Friday, February 5th. You can see that for central Indiana, central Ohio, we're seeing moderate snowfall. That's a little bit different. And we even get into very far southern New England with that snowfall later on the day on Friday, February 5th. Okay, let's move on to the total snowfall now, according to these models. And first off, the European model. I'm going to go over the color shades with you guys real quick. A gray color there is a dusting, if anything. In the lighter blues, we're taking a look at about 2 to 6 inches of snow. In the purple, 6 to 10. In the pinks, about 10 to 20. And there's not really much 20 inches plus. So really, we're taking a look at a bullseye here for northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan. That seems to be the bullseye at this point. Although I think the very western extent of that lower peninsula of Michigan could also get those 10-inch plus amounts. You'll obviously see that in a little bit. The GFS model kind of agrees with that statement I just made. It does have those pinks making its way down the coast of the very western regions of the lower peninsula of Michigan there. But the upper peninsula of Michigan is still that bullseye, and that does extend down south into northern Wisconsin as well. Now let's take a look at the Canadian model, which we didn't even look at on the simulated radar. But this one really has that snowfall more spread around, but lighter amounts in the bullseye. So it's just kind of spreading it out a little bit there. The NAM 3KM model, as you can see, we actually get some of those teal shades up there for the upper peninsula of Michigan in some spots, and that's actually where we're taking a look at 20 inches plus. So this one has significantly more once we take a look at a higher resolution model. Very, very interesting. It has those 10-inch plus amounts for northern Wisconsin, all of the upper peninsula of Michigan, and then, again, like I said, the very western coast there of that lower peninsula of Michigan as well. Let's take a look at that RGEM model, and as you can see, it's kind of just like its parent model. I guess you could call it a parent model, the Canadian model, and it's just more spread around with everything, and it has lighter amounts in those in the bullseye. But really, 10 inches plus isn't really lighter amounts; it's just lighter compared to some of the other models. All right, now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at my official snowfall forecast for this snowstorm in just a moment. All right, now first things first, here is our dusting to 3-inch region. All of these white regions, I expect a dusting to 3 inches of snow. In this lighter blue shade, you can see 3 to 6 inches of snow is what I'm expecting throughout all of these regions. That includes Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Buffalo as well, just to name a few bigger cities, also Cleveland a little bit there. Now we have multiple darker blue regions, and these are all of our 6 to 10 inch regions, so Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and that western coast of the lower peninsula of Michigan there, and then even portions of upstate New York, even the Finger Lakes regions, and then northern Maine also, as some of that snow skirts by. And then our 10 to 15 inch bullseye is going to be for northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, so that includes all of the upper peninsula basically, and then most of that northwestern corner there of the lower peninsula of Michigan there as well, and that's going to be our bullseye for now. I might be updating this tomorrow. I don't know what my plan is for tomorrow's video. If I still feel very good about this, I might talk about the polar vortex that is coming in instead. So tomorrow's kind of a question mark as far as what I'm going to be making a video about, but you will surely see tomorrow what video I'm going to be making. For our confidence tab, we've gone from a 2 to a 5 from yesterday to today, so my confidence has greatly increased. That's probably our biggest jump in direct weather history. We've only been doing this for about a few weeks now, but it still is our biggest jump ever, so that's interesting there. The reason for this is we yesterday didn't see a lot of model agreement. There was a lot of different opinions, and now today you probably saw that they're almost identical. You can't really tell them apart at this point. So I'm feeling extraordinarily more confident than I was yesterday. So that's why that big jump occurred. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, do you think this snowstorm is going to happen? And if so, where? And James Marr said, I think it will happen, and the biggest impacts will be in Wisconsin. Although I do think that the biggest impacts will be for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, this was the closest to being my thoughts out of any of them. So, good comment there from James Marr. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Sebastian Tao, John Bembenek, James Wade, Dovi Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry Lepan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Adam Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J., Luke Fallego, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you would like to be a part of this Patreon screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.